relay finishes off, and we will be starting off right away.
Anyway, level 1, what do you expect from these teams?
It's a little bit of an interesting level 1 that can come out from both of these guys. So now my client's messing up a little bit here. All right, so level 1, we do have the stealth that can come out from Sick, able to kind of get into that deck line, plus with the death sentence on Thresh, so they would be able to pump out a good amount of early game damage. Whereas Sunbeam Dream Team, their level 1 isn't very strong. I mean, Disparity, depends on what he decides to level up. He can get that stun at level 1, but not too sure what he's going to decide to do. And even then, it is a single target stun, and at the same time, Renekton stuns himself. So it is a little bit tricky. Ryze isn't notorious for doing a lot of early game damage. I highly doubt Cryptor's going to be starting off Taunt if he can help it. But nobody has picked any skills yet, so it's too early to say. Yeah, definitely a level 1 advantage, I would have to say, is coming out for XMS here.
Yeah, and Sick is now roaming around this bush area where the rest of Sunbeam Dream Team is sitting around. He will spot them out, and he will not back away quick enough. He's caught.
Yeah, he actually gets snared down by the Ryze. You're forced to flash away. Disparity trying to flash in with that stun. Doesn't quite get it. Sick does flash over the wall. So a flash burnt on either side. Fair trade coming out there, but everybody's going to back away from this. Looks like the rest of XMS is actually heading back over towards their red buff here. Hanging out within that bush. There is no vision over there, so they have no idea where they're coming. But looks like Sunbeam Dream Team is going to back away and head on over to their own side.
Yeah, and one thing they didn't do with that invade is put any vision down. They could have put something on the red buff, but they just didn't. I'm quite surprised at that. At least they would have some information, but there is that one ward now sitting at the back of the red buff, on their own red buff that XMS put down earlier while that was all going on. So yes. Vision, so far, an advantage to XMS right now, and both teams looking just more for a defensive setup after both flashes were burned earlier.
Absolutely. Looks like they're just going to be getting started over here on their respected blue buffs. Hecarim heading over to his now. Going to be getting that. And it looks like relatively standard starts. No crazy lane swaps going down. Everybody heading over to their respected lanes.
And one thing I want to point out is that Sick is actually running deep utility masteries. He has the lower flash cooldown, so his will be up a little bit earlier. That Black Death is got by hook.
Yeah, Black Death actually getting a lot of damage here. The toxic poison coming down from Twitch's auto attacks doing a lot of damage here. Sponge doesn't look like it was used there. No, it was. Sorry, my mistake. So Black Death taking about half health already here. Looks like this lane is already going really well in favor of Based here. This is definitely a lane you don't want to fall behind on too far. Twitch is really good at being able to zone, as well as the Thresh. That threat of the death sentence is just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and the only reason the Expunge didn't do too much damage is because there were only really 2 poison stacks for him to really blow up with it. So Black Death is only taken down to about half health, especially with the Doctor's shield on top of him. Really helped that just to prevent as much damage as possible in that exchange. Black Death is already back to full, and that's, I believe that's 6% lifesteal quins on him. Let me check.
Yeah, it does look like he is actually running a full lifesteal page here, so he is opting for a lot more lane safety in this lane. Doesn't want to get too far behind. It does look like it was a good choice in this lane matchup. He is able to kind of keep up in health here. Meanwhile, actually a lot of aggression going down here. Bodig's taken down really low, taking a couple of shots from Silver Bolts, but we'll be able to back away. Base actually taking a couple of shots too. Expunge going down, trading a little bit of damage here, but meanwhile in the top lane, Hecarim is kind of hanging out around here though. A lot of aggression going down. Santa trying his best to get close enough for a stun. Doesn't quite able to land it. Lands it actually underneath Disparity's tower, so Disparity will be able to walk away from that. But meanwhile in the mid lane here, Cryptor actually going really aggressive onto Sick. Sick already uses W, trying to run away. Doesn't manage to get the taunt down. Sick getting dropped down extremely low. Decnum flashing in, trying to do as much damage as he can. Sick trying to juke around using the brushes, but the snare will pick it up. Decnum gets the first blood.
Yeah, that's just a very easy snare onto an unsuspecting Evelyn. Sick just couldn't get away from the speed of a Ryze. And
meanwhile, in the bottom lane here, Doctor actually getting hooked. Sorry, no aggression, not at all. Looks like they wanted to back away from that. Not looking like they want to go too aggressive, but Black Death doing a really good job of managing to trade blows with Based here, using that Silver Bolts with the tumble to try and trade damage as best as he can.
Yeah, basically the Silver Bolts and the Expunge are doing so much burst damage in this lane whenever they get procced. And ironically, not too ironically, but anyway, both both AD carries rely on continued auto attacks to do their burst damage. A flashplay.
Sorry, meanwhile in the bottom lane here, Hecarim actually charging right into Black Death, doesn't quite get the knockback. Exhaust going down, then knocked up though. Flash coming down from Doctor, trying to keep himself alive. Exhaust was used, trying to get as much damage as he can. Expunge will not do enough damage. Both of them will be able to walk away, but a lot of summoners being used. Base actually getting dropped down extremely low, forced to use the barrier and the shield from the Dark Passage. Will be able to walk away from that safely as well. So lots of summoners being burnt on both sides.
And one thing that Black Death didn't have during that entire thing was his Condemn. He put 2 points into the Tumble at level 3. Now he should have it after he hit level 4. But he wasn't really able to keep Impact away from him during that gank. He couldn't do the same thing to Botanix either when he came in. And it really just forced so many summoners out of both sides. Both of Doctor's summoners were forced. Now we have Sick rolling bot as well. He's not spotted by any Pink Lords. There's no real Evelyn tax being paid so far this game, so no vision on anyone. He is able to sneak into that bush.
Yeah, he is hanging out over there. Black Death does not realize that he's there. There are some things going down. Block's trying to get that hook across, does not quite land. And Black Death's trying his best to farm. Hecarim is also hanging out in the bot lane here. Base is going into the stealth mode. Bag's going in really deep. You get shield goes down onto Black Death. Knockup going down onto Bodix. Sick is here as well, trying his best to catch up. Impact running in as fast as he can, trying to catch up. Black Death getting dropped down extremely low. Barriers popped out. Sick taking a couple of tower shots. Will be able to survive all of that burst damage though. There was a lot of action going down onto this bot lane right now.
Yeah, all that shield is able to keep Black Death alive there. Barrier and Eye of the Storm both used onto him. Now the 2 men roaming down towards this mid lane. Crypture is sticking around the area as well, so it should be a 2v2, although a bit delayed. Decnum's cut out.
And Decnum is getting a lot of damage here. Oh, sorry, now my stream is actually getting a little bit of lag. Impact getting dropped down extremely low. Flash from the Powerball into Crypture. Crypture trying his best to do as much damage onto Evelyn. Evelyn forced to flash away here. The minion aggro was extremely strong, taking him down extremely low. So, but a lot of, teleport coming down here. Santa here just to make sure Sick doesn't get dove onto. We'll be able to walk away from that. Disparity was walking down just in case, and it looks like everybody's going to be heading over back to top lane.
Yeah, after that engage, just Doctor looking to CS, or quote, CS under turret with no AD Janna. Finally going back after all that, his first back of the game. Just a lot of action around that mid lane there, a lot of summoners being burned. So a flash on Ram is not something you see too often, especially because he benefits from movement speed so much in his ganks. He did use that to secure the kill onto Hecarim in that mid lane. Now Impact going for his blue buff. He's actually 2 levels below Crypture, so Crypture should be able to smite steal this away.
Yeah, they are actually heading in though. Impact does manage to get the smite steal, but Disparity is over here. They do manage to get the stun and the snare. A lot of aggression going down. Disparity will pick it up with Call of the Meek and walk back into lane with a blue buff.
Blue buff on Renekton. Not something too important because he doesn't have mana. He doesn't even have a proper resource that can be recharged like a ninja with energy could, like Santa.
But the cooldown reduction.
It is the cooldown reduction. That's what's most important about it. But again, it's not the biggest deal in the world for Santa to be against the blue buff Renekton. What's really going to make the difference is the cooldown on either the stun or actually just really everything. It keeps Disparity spamming cold.
A lot of aggression, sorry. Going down onto bot lane here. Base getting dropped down extremely low. Dark Passage you. Exhaust going down onto base here. Does manage to get the stealth away. Living with very little health. Will the stealth pop back up? It does pop back up. Flash going down. Tumble auto attack will pick up the kill onto the Twitch. Black Death walking away with the free kill there.
Yeah, that was a very... I wouldn't say it was really a cut-out Twitch. It was just a very opportunistic kill they found. Probably while the hook was down. I didn't even see the start of the engage. Sorry. But yeah,
no worries. Yeah. A little bit of a disengagement from Bodix there. Didn't quite manage to get the hook properly. Sorry, meanwhile in the middle in here, Decnum getting a little bit caught out here. Counter engagement coming up for Crypture. Decnum flashing away, doing his best to do as much damage to Sick as he's kiting around, avoiding the damage to miss again. Does manage to pick up the kill onto Sick, trying to run away from Impact here. Running over towards the wall, doesn't quite have flash up. Does do a decent amount of damage though, but will fall over to the Hecarim. Meanwhile, Crypture does manage to trade the kill. 2 for 1 exchange in favor of Sunbeam Dream Team.
Crypture is just with Decnum at every point of this game so far. He's always, and most importantly, he's there when Impact is. He's counter ganking at every opportunity and just making every trade so in favor of Sunbeam right now. It's giving them the
A lot of going
lead.
down onto, sorry, a lot of aggression going down onto Crypture here. Looks like Santa wanted to use Vengeful Maelstrom, but Crypture landed a really key taunt. Managed to stop him from casting Vengeful Maelstrom. That probably would have costed his death. Sorry, costed his life. So he does manage to save himself. Santa heading back over to the top lane now.
One thing I want to point out is the CS lead that's so in favor of Black Death. A Twitch against the Vayne is usually able to just out-harass you early in the game. SBDT getting spotted out a little by the Santa right now, but nothing really big coming from it. Just one ward very deep into that blue buff. Just getting him just a lot of vision control in this top lane now.
Yeah, Sick actually heading down towards the bottom lane here now. He has not been spotted out. There are no pink wards. A little bit of aggression going down. The hook does mix though. Doctor actually is getting a little bit caught out here. Does cast the whirlwind behind him. Exhaust being used. Huge amounts of burst damage. Monsoon being used and flash to try and keep himself alive. Spray and Pay was proc there. So that was a lot of ultimates and a lot of summoners also being burnt in that bot lane. There's a lot of action. Both teams really want to get this bot lane ahead.
Yeah, and it's really not working out too well for XMS. Like I said, a big CS disadvantage for Based right now. Black Death now, especially with this giant wave in front of him, is going to pick up even more of an advantage. Santa getting dropped in the top lane. Dominus was still available, but now we have a gank on Decnum in mid lane, and nothing happens.
Yeah, Sick does manage to just Sick does back away from that. Decnum's starting to do a really surprising amount of damage from his abilities, being able to spam all three of them in rapid succession combat with his ultimate, and able to sustain really well. Sick getting dropped down really low from Decnum's Qs here, so he is in a little bit of a tricky spot right now.
And that's the whole thing with the melee against the ranged mid lane. Ryze especially is just able to bully out anyone so hard if they get in range of his abilities. And a lot of
gank going down onto the top lane here. Disparity getting a little bit of trouble. Dominus being popped. Santa forced to flash away because the ignite is going down here. Crypture's trying his best. Gets a taunt down onto Impact underneath the turret. Disparity trying to do as much damage as he can. Does manage to pull him away from the turret, but no kills yet. A couple of ultimates traded away.
Yeah, ultimates for ultimates. I believe, no, actually, Onslaught of Shadows is not used in that fight.
Sorry, Santa actually going back in. A little bit of an aggressive move here. Gets stunned and Call of the Meek will pick up the kill. Looks like a little bit of a misplay. I think he had a false sense of confidence just because Impact was hanging out there with him.
Yeah, you don't want to get too close to Renekton when you're that low health, and that's exactly what he did. First, taunting Impact away from the turret, and nothing happens.
Yeah, it does manage to walk away from that safely. It doesn't look like they're too interested in a tower dive that could be extremely risky. So everybody walking away from that now. Let's take a look at the mid lane CS. We haven't really been able to talk about this. They are saying that there's a lot of CS advantage coming up for Sunbeam, especially with this melee to range advantage. Evelyn is sitting on 48 and Ryze is sitting at 85, so almost a double here coming out for Decnum.
And look what Sick rushed as his first item. He got Moby Boots. And he's just looking to apply the map pressure, but it hasn't worked out so far. He's 0-2-2. He has assists on the only 2 kills for his team, but he's died both times for them. Hasn't really worked out too well for him trying to get the roaming out, but it's all he can really do by this point. He doesn't really have any damage to compete with Ryze. He doesn't have anything to compete with Ryze.
Absolutely, yeah. He doesn't have any magic resistance yet. Ryze is starting to do a lot of damage to her every time she tries to come in for a couple of CS. So Ryze is turning into a big scary monster by this point. He is just farming away, more than happy to do so, sitting at 90 CS right now, almost got his completed Rod of Ages. Meanwhile, both junglers are hanging out near this mid lane here, so see what goes on. Impact starting to go in here. Decnum running back over to Crypture. Crypture is here to help out. Snare going down. Huge amount of damage coming down onto Impact with the ultimate. Decnum doing a huge amount of damage here. Flashing away from the Evelyn, though. Try not to be too risky. The ultimate is being popped down. Teleport coming down from Santa here. Using Vengeful Maelstrom. Decnum does manage to flash away from that. Not flash away, sorry, but Crypture flashes away. Will fall away to Cannon's W, though, and will be able to get the kill. So a 1-for-1 trade coming down there for Sunbeam Dream Team.
1-for-1 and ton of summoners being burned. One thing I haven't seen Impact do it all this game is engage with his ultimate. If he would be able to use that at any point during these fights, it would be so much more in their favor. He probably wouldn't have died in that point. Black Death might be caught out here, but no, Death Sentence is just on the edge of the skill shot, so he should be safe from that.
Yeah, does manage to walk away from that safely here. So everything looking relatively normal here. Black Death just dodging Death Sentence coming out from Douglas here. CS favor definitely in huge advantage for Sunbeam Dream Team so far. What do you think about both of these team compositions late game though?
I'll talk
Oh wait,
about
sorry, a lot of
this
aggression going down onto the bottom lane here. Monsoon and Flash Force popped out from Black Death here. Sick is trying his best to run away, popping final hour here. Turning around now because of the teleport from Deknum. Huge amounts of burst damage coming down. Black Death taking a couple of tower shots. Base doing his best with Spray for to do as much damage as he can. Blade of the Rune King used to do a lot of damage. Lots of flashes being burnt here. Everybody's gonna walk away from this safely, but Cryptor's coming around from behind. Does go in, actually gets the taunt down onto Sick, getting a lot of damage up. Sick will fall. Base has nowhere to run, trying to kite around near his own side. The chase is on, though, trying to sit inside of that tower, do as much damage as he can, does get stunned against the wall by Black Death, and that is a double kill coming up for Black Death.
Even as a Twitch, you don't run from a Vayne. This should be the first turret of the game, going down for Sunbeam. Now they're 310 with about a 6k gold lead after this turret goes down. They might even turn on Dragon after this, but Doctor and Deknum both kind of low, and they'll look to go back. Yeah, big advantage right now. Both the mid laners and the AD carries for Sunbeam are way ahead in their matchups in both kills and minion scores. Actually, the 3 deaths on Deknum, the only 3 deaths on his team, by the way, all on Deknum. So
Deknum the feeder.
we know exactly where Impact has been putting his pressure this game. Disparity going on Santa in top lane, they're taking a lot of harass back.
And I do want to point that out. Impact has been sitting mid pretty much the entire game, but Cryptor has read this. He knows what Impact is trying to do, and every time he thinks that Impact is there or he's been spotted out by a ward, Cryptor is there to save his buddy Deknum. And the counter ganks almost always come out in favor for Sunbeam Dream Team. Cryptor's doing a really good job with these counter ganks, keeping on top of the enemy jungler. Sick actually kicking down extremely low here from Deknum's full combo, and then has Force thrown away, but Santa is over here. Don't believe he was spotted out by a ward. No, so they're not aware that he's there. He's trying to head over to this mid lane here, though. Deknum in a little bit of trouble here. Doesn't really have anywhere to run. Gets melted almost instantly.
Yeah, he's dead. Double left going over to Impact after all that. Actually, Doctor, I was about to say before that, Doctor has a 16-minute oracles. That although the dragon is going over to XMS here after the 1 kill on Deknum. First dragon of the game, by the way. It's 16 minutes. It's kind of late for that, but it is the first dragon. It does go to them, and it's part of what they need to come back in this game. They need to really do what their composition was made for. You asked me about how I thought the late game would be. A lot of what XMS has to do, especially now that they're behind, is look for picks. They can do that especially with the single target stuns from Kennen, the double stealth, and really as much single target burst as they have. They do have an AoE comp-ish. It's not really the best. They do have the Hecarim to engage. They do have the Kennen to put a slicing Maelstrom in there, but it's not... The only proper engage they have is Hecarim, and as long as that ultimate is down, they're going to have to be very careful about how they pick fights, especially against Deknum, who, although he is 2 and 4, he is way ahead of a Stick at this point. The only 4 deaths on the team. He has he has about 80% kill participation as well. The only turret on the map going down for his team. So
a lot of aggression going down on the mid lane here. Sick actually forced to flash away, dropping down extremely low just from one rotation from Deknum there. So we could see just how much of a late game powerhouse he's already starting to become.
Yeah, and that's just gonna spike up over time. Cryptor looking for a gank in this top lane. I don't believe he was spotted on the way up. Santa's caught out.
Santa forced to flash away, but Flash coming down from Disparity, landing a great stun. Vengeful Maelstrom going down underneath the turret. Cryptor taunting and using that ultimate Tremors to get as much damage as he can. Disparity will pick up the kill, popping Dominus underneath the turret. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, though, Impact is here. They're going to try and take away this turret. This should be a relatively free turret. Vayne did drop in that engagement, so they do manage to pick up the bottom turret for that. Disparity looks like he's going to try and answer that with the top turret.
Sick walks back to lane, and he's already half health just from 1 rotation. That was a mid turret for a bottom turret. Very good trade for Sunbeam. They're already applying pressure on the mid, while just Disparity has this away with the top turret. It'll drop now. All the outer turrets now down for XMS. Sunbeam Dream Team picking that last one up there. And about a 6k gold lead, again, after that turret went down. All the big gold trades going back and forth. 3 turrets to 1 and a dragon. So XMS trying to keep up, and like I said before, with the pick on Vayne, with the pick on Rise, they're making stuff happen after they pick people off. They're just working with the numbers advantages where they happen, but they're not really able to answer anything else across the map. where they're not at an advantage with numbers, something is going to fall down, and you just saw it. It was a 2-for-1 turret trade across the map, and that was just because Black Death got caught, but it turned around and it gave 2 turrets to Sunbeam. So
absolutely, Sunbeam is doing a really good job of realizing that every time something isn't going in their favor, they're going to turn something else around to make sure that at least they're keeping ahead. If they're going to lose a turret in bot, we're going to take your mid and your top.
Yeah, and we'll see how that turns around once the dragon respawns and how each of the teams puts. Base.
Their base getting a little bit caught out in the mid lane here. Dropped down to about 25% out just from a simple rotation coming down from Deknum. Deknum is a monster right now. You know, on the top lane here, yeah, Disparity forced to run away from Santa here, but looks like, yeah, base is forced to run away from this. Looks like they can't pressure down this mid turret anymore, and the pressure from Sunbeam is back on.
Yep, and Doctor actually almost face-checking 3 members, but
the Cryptor actually down here, flashes in, manages to get a taunt. Boarding getting a little bit caught up, getting knocked up from Doctor here. Doctor trying to get it, sorry, Box being dropped over here. Cryptor around the side here, and no, it looks like XMS is going to just be hanging out by their turret. Everybody's going to walk away. That was a great pick off onto Boatings there on the Thresh.
Yeah, the team that's looking for picks got picked off. There should be another good turret here for Sunbeam. Believe Dragon spawns relatively soon as... No, it doesn't spawn for 2 minutes. Never mind. But yeah, turret dropped very low impact, eating a Silver Bolt proc. Not quite a lot of damage. He actually has a decent amount of armor with the Ninja Tabby and the Emblem of Valor in there. Not taking a whole lot of damage from Black Death, unless Black Death sticks on him for a long time like he just did. Now he's on the half health. The turret should drop. Black Death getting the last on that, but every member on both teams is here in mid right now, and it looks like Sunbeam is trying to back off.
Yeah, Sunbeam looks like they're going to just back away from this, not want to get hard engaged. Sorry, XMS does have a very good hard engagement comp, whereas Doctor does have that really strong disengagement with the Monsoon. So, looks like everybody's just going to play it safe, everybody heading off towards their own jungle, picking up the buffs while they can.
Yeah, and right now XMS is trying to think, what can we do to get back in this game? And my answer to that is they have to try to get Dragon again. If they can pick off a really good fight around Dragon, get the right targets down first, either Deknum or Black Death. Black Death isn't in the really late game position yet. He has the Blade of the Ruined King and the Zeal, but it's not quite to late game vein at the moment, especially with all the armor that's on Impact right now. If Impact can keep Black Death zoned out and the rest of XMS can be focused on Deknum, then they could probably win a fight, but it's going to be very carefully executed from them, and they're going to just have to approach with caution, try to pick up some global gold back for themselves, catch up somewhat in farm, but every lane is going so well in Sunbeam's favor right now, I can't really see that being very easy for them.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming down from XMS onto this mid turret. They're going pings down, going onto it, trying their best to get over here. Deknum is here though. They do have the AoE wave clear from his ultimate coming down. The Desperate Power clearing out that wave almost instantly, and they will be forced to back away from this one.
Yeah, the XMS is trying to pick up global objectives right now, just opportunistically, but Deknum is the one-man turret.
So a lot of aggression, but now Sandro actually getting stunned down against the tower. Shadow of Onslaught going down, the box being dropped down immediately. Bonus going to drop down extremely low. Black Death kiting around the back here, whereas Base Swear is getting dropped down almost immediately. Does pop the barrier, will manage to stay alive. Impact getting dropped down extremely low to Deknum. Sick is on the run now. The entire enemy team just melted in a moment. Was that a quadra kill? I do believe that was a quadra kill coming out for Deknum there. No, triple kill.
No,
it was just a triple kill.
It was just a triple kill. Cryptor, actually, I was about to say he was a little too low to get Dragon, but Doctor actually pops the Monsoon to heal him back up, and they do get that Dragon very well, I wouldn't say for free. It was an ace. It's not a free Dragon. The
only person they lost in that exchange was Disparity, and in return for his life, they picked up a Dragon. So this is looking extremely good for Sunbeam Dream Team right now. Vayne is becoming extremely strong. Ryze is already turned into a monster, now picking up the Archangel staffs. But 530 mana on that, so pretty close to being completed. As well as a Negatron Cloak to try and negate a lot of the AP damage coming out. They do have a Kennen and an Evelynn, plus the magic damage that can come out from Hecarim on his Onslaught of Shadows. So he's going to try and negate a lot of the damage coming out from the enemy team here.
And look at the items on Sunbeam right now. And yeah, just the gold is like 10,000 in Sunbeam. It was about 6,000 to 8,000 last time we looked at it, but now it's 10. Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, the items. I wanted to point out the double Sunfire cape that they have. Just by standing in the middle of XMS, they're winning team fights. They have the double Sunfire along with the Tremor, I believe is the name of
Tremors.
the ultimate from. Yeah, and now they're standing.
Oh, actually, they're getting caught out in this bush. Crypto going right in there, gets a taunt out. Sick dropping down almost immediately. Santa is on the run. The red buff proc will slow him down, though. Does pop down that Zonius. Has nowhere to run. Gets stunned against the side, though. And Vayne will pick up a double kill. Now they're pressuring down this mid lane. Pings are going down. Crypto's turning on that Powerball. Trying his best to catch up there. Will he get close enough to Beast? Yeah, he will. No, Base, sorry. No, he will not. Blade of the Rune King was pulled off. Was slowing down. Crypture there will be forced to back away, but this is a free inhibitor tower. They have no choice but to let this go, and if they could take it down fast enough, it'll be a free inhibitor as well.
Yeah, XMS looking for the pick there, but they got picked off themselves. They didn't have the vision control they thought they had. They all stood on top of that ward and got caught out. Hal and Gale actually engaged that fight for them, and just Crypture came in, taunted Sick, and you saw the inhibitor go down after that. Now they're pushing on top lane. This should be another very quick turret for them. No one really in range to defend it, and all 5 members should be able to melt it right now.
Yeah, they are dropping this extremely quickly. Impact hanging around the side here. It does look like he wants to go in for an engagement though, but he is by himself. Gets taunted down by Crypture. Melted almost instantly, but he does manage to use Onslaught Shadows to get away. Disparity is in the thick of it, using Dominance to tank as much damage as he can. Meanwhile, Crypture is in there using that Rupture to try and do as much damage as he can. Monsoon used to disengage the fight. Black Death dropping extremely low, kiting the best he can, using that life steal to stay alive. Living with just the skin of his teeth, does drop down to the poison from Twitch, but that was another ace coming down for Sunbeam Dream Team.
Shut down onto Black Death right there. Not enough. They did exactly what I said before. They picked off Declan first, and it was Impact in the back zoning out Black Death, but it was not enough. Sunbeam is just way too far ahead right now. 1 turret to 7, 8 to 24 in kills, now with a 14k gold lead overall. I don't want to sound hopeless, but it's very hard for XMS to come back from all this. Now with the inhibitor down at 26 minutes, it could be too much for them.
Yeah, this could be a very scary game. They are not in a favorable position right now. Disparity currently taking away the blue buff from the enemy here. It looks like they're going to be heading over to put a ward down on Baron, and as soon as they can, probably force that away from force that away from XMS.
Yeah, now we're going with the sneaky build on Black Death right now. All the attack speed, the Phantom Dancer and Static Shiv on top of the Blade of the Ruined King. I want to look at that actual attack speed right now. It's 1.9 on him. Silver Bolts are coming out basically every second and a half. So it's a lot of damage, a lot of crits, a lot of quick lane pushing, and Black Death actually should be able to pick up this next turret on his own.
Yeah, he is split pushing down on that bottom lane, clearing out those minion waves extremely fast just with that attack speed, plus the passive from Static Shiv, but bonus magic damage to help clear it out. Pushing out extremely quickly. I think the reason he's opted to go for this build is just because of the amount. I think it's mostly because of the Hecarim and the Slicing Maelstrom that can come down from Kennen here. Just because they could jump right onto Black Death, he wants to have that movement speed to be able to kite out of that as soon as he possibly can. Let's just see. We have a lot of the enemy, we have a lot of Sunbeam Dream Team sitting in this blue buff. I do want to point this out though. Rammus has picked up a needlessly large rod.
And what exactly is the AP scaling on Rammus? I'm not entirely certain on that, but
not very high. He's only got 24 on Tremors, and his W that doesn't have a scaling. His Q is about plus 80, so it looks like his Q is a 1.0. But his ultimate not very high, so.
But remember that is an 8-second dot, so it's a decent amount of damage. We'll see where he goes with that if the game ends up going any longer, which it might not by this point. Sunbeam was looking to set up a little bit of a trap. They took a second inhibitor. They're backing off. This is like CLG style, just playing it safe, playing it slow. They're slowly choking out XMS. Goldie's still hovering around 15,000 like it was before. Not too much has changed, but a lot of farms should not be flooding into XMS base, but it might not be enough with the Baron buff onto Sunbeam shortly.
Yeah, it looks like Sunbeam Dream Team is opting to go for this Baron. There is no vision coming down from XMS, so this is going to be a free Baron. Dropping it down extremely quickly with those Silver Bolt procs. Finishing it off, and now it looks like they're going to be heading over to try and close out this game.
Yeah, especially with Based over there, split pushing that bottom lane. There should be an almost free Nexus turret by the time he gets back to help defend. Dark Pass is just there saving impact. Probably didn't need it, but can't hurt to be safe. Actually, Based almost getting caught out here, but no, the what is it? Ambush stealth.
Yeah, he does manage to stealth away though, so he does manage to get away from that safely. Looks like some being more than happy to tank a couple of tower shots to finish off this tower. They're going to continue. Vengeful Maelstrom looks like it was, or so not Vengeful, Slicing Maelstrom looks like it was popped a little prematurely there. I think it might have been a misclick. So that is an ultimate now down. So definitely not looking good. Could be they just kind of might have rolled over and given up and just trying to have a little bit of fun. We can see that the enemy team just kind of dancing around the outside of this tower here. It looks like they're having a little bit of
high move right there. Finger slipped, R button, oops. My Slicing Maelstrom is down. Mid inhibitor respawns in the meantime. Super minions wailing away at that. Both super minion lanes getting fairly close to those Nexus turrets for now, while the rest of Sunbeam is just pushing down bottom. It's going to be just a matter of time before those minions get onto that Nexus turret and just draw the attention away from this bottom turret. Never mind, the bottom turret goes down before they're drawn away.
Disparity goes aggressive in there, manages to pop down. Dominus does melt down the enemy there. Base melts down almost instantly as well, though. Black Death doing his best to kite around here. Does look like he's going to get dropped. No, he's actually kiting around really beautifully. XMS Santa will be able to pick up the kill here. Bodix trying his best to stay alive, but this is a hopeless fight. Crypture does manage to get the taunt down. Disparity is on his way. Doctor looks like, no, it looks like they're going to just let Santa go away, focus their attention onto the Nexus, and finish off this kill. Decked up, teleporting to the minion right beside him. They know this game is over and they're looking to just finish it off and have a little bit of fun at the end. Impact going in there, trying his best to stop them, but he knows this fight is futile, and he does end up dying to that as well.
Yeah, everyone on XMS is just trying to dive onto Black Death, but they forgot Dectum on Rise. At this point, they're both just so equal in late game devastation that whichever one you don't focus is going to kill you. And that's exactly what happened in that fight. Especially with base getting dropped so early to Disparity. It was pretty hopeless for XMS, I can't lie. There was probably no way they're coming back